Have you ever wondered why some gardens are just absolute jungles of lush green bean vines, while in others, this staple crop completely stunts, or worse, just rots right in the ground? Well, unlocking a massive harvest isn't about having some magic green thumb. It's actually about understanding the highly specific chronological needs of the plant. So, let's unpack the data on exactly why this happens and how you can guarantee a heavy yield.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the seed-to-table data behind massive green bean yields. We're going to transform expert agronomic research and master gardener experience into real, actionable insights you can use to optimize your harvest and fight off those annoying summer pests.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll meet the magic bean. Then, timing is everything, followed by prep and planting steps. After that, we've got care, companions, and pests, then harvesting your bountiful crop, and finally, the gardener's reality. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. Meet the magic bean.
Okay, looking at the source data, you basically have two main paths you can take: bush beans and pole beans. Think of bush beans as your sprinters. According to market farming experts, they're perfect for quick, compact harvests. They mature in just 50 to 62 days, and the best part? They don't require any staking. Pole beans, on the other hand, well, they're your marathon runners. They definitely take a bit longer to get going and absolutely require a trellis or some tall support, but they're going to give you this incredible, towering yield that just produces continuously over a much longer period.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates why beans are literally magical for any garden. You see, unlike most vegetables that just drain the soil of nutrients, beans have this amazing symbiotic relationship with soil bacteria. It allows them to pull nitrogen directly from the air and fix it right into the ground. They're actually improving your garden soil for whatever you decide to plant next. How cool is that?
Section 2. Timing is everything. So, the absolute crucial point here is that your soil temperature, and notice I said soil temperature, not air temperature, has to reach at least 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 12 degrees Celsius. If you get impatient, and plant your seeds in cold, damp spring soil, the seeds simply won't germinate. It'll just rot right there in the ground before it ever even sees the sun. You absolutely have to wait until the earth has physically warmed up.
What's really fascinating about this data is how your local geography completely dictates your gardening calendar. Looking across different regions, we see massive variations. High-altitude areas with a super short frost-free window, they have to wait all the way until May to plant, and usually they only get one crop. But then look at southern Greece. Growers over there can start in March. And because the midsummer heat is just too extreme, they actually plant a second crop in early September to take advantage of the cooler autumn weather. The takeaway? Always map your planting to your localized climate, not some generic calendar.
Section 3. Prep and planting steps. The source material outlines a really fantastic 4-step planting methodology. First up, you can soak your hard bean seeds in lukewarm water to speed up germination. But, and this is a big but, for a maximum of 8 hours. Any longer than that and they become super fragile and rot. Second, here's a great trick. Dig a trench, fill it with kitchen scraps, and cap it with soil. This gives the roots a rich, moisture-retaining compost bed. Third, plant the seed about an inch deep with the hilum, that's the little belly button on the seed, facing down. That's exactly where the root emerges, so you're giving it a direct path downward. Finally, just give them a couple of inches of space to breathe.
Now here's a great secret from the expert sources, and honestly, a super common pitfall. People try to get a head start by planting beans in little pots indoors. Don't do it. Seriously, beans absolutely hate having their roots disturbed. If you try to transplant them, they suffer severe transplant shock and will often just die or remain completely stunted. Always direct sow your seeds outside, exactly where they're going to grow.
Section 4. Care, companions, and pests.
This brings us to companion planting. This is the concept that plants can either help or hurt each other based on what they release into the soil. Pairing your beans with the right neighbors, like carrots, cucumbers, and cabbage, really boosts their growth and maximizes your garden space. But you gotta beware the oleums. Planting beans anywhere near the onion family, and yeah, that includes garlic and leeks, will heavily stunt the beans' development. Just keep them far, far apart.
When it comes to hydration, beans need about 2 inches of water per week, especially when they start to flower. But here's the golden rule. Water at the base using drip irrigation. If you use a sprinkler or get the leaves soaking wet, especially in humid weather, you are quickly going to invite devastating fungal diseases like anthracnose or white mold. So remember, keep the leaves dry, keep the roots moist.
Of course, you aren't the only one who thinks your beans are delicious, right? Greek agronomist Kostas Lianoutakis warns about common pests like spider mites, stink bugs, and aphids. But don't worry, you don't need harsh chemicals. You can fight back effectively using targeted organic solutions. For example, a really simple homemade mixture of green soap and a little rubbing alcohol in water is just fantastic for clearing out aphids without poisoning your future dinner.
Section 5. Harvesting your bountiful crop.
So, if you want to be eating fresh beans all summer, you need to use a technique recommended by expert farmer Pam Dolling. It's called succession sowing. Basically, don't plant all your seeds on day one. Plant a row, wait 2 to 3 weeks, and then plant another row. Because bush beans mature in about 50 to 60 days, doing this ensures that just as one plant finishes producing, the next one is completely ready to go. You will literally have a continuous, non-stop harvest all summer long.
And when you do pick them young. A really great rule of thumb is to harvest them when they're thinner than a standard number 2 pencil. Just snap them off carefully with 2 hands so you don't rip the plant. If you wait until you can see the seeds bulging inside the pod, well, you've waited too long. The pods will become incredibly tough, fibrous, and just stringy. Plus, the more frequently you pick the young pods, the more the plant will be tricked into producing new ones.
And just to show you how celebrated and universally loved this vegetable really is, here's a fantastic piece of trivia. Back in 1907, U.S. Senator Knute Nelson actually introduced a resolution mandating that bean soup be served daily in the Senate dining room, regardless of how hot the weather got. And get this, to this very day, it remains a staple on their menu.
Section 6. The Gardener's Reality.
Now, we've given you the ultimate blueprint today, but remember that nature is, well, highly unpredictable. Gardening is this dynamic dance with the elements. Your success can and absolutely will vary due to sudden heat waves, unseasonable rains, or specialized local soil conditions. So consider this explanation a robust, foundational guide, but always be willing to adapt. I highly encourage you to consult your local agricultural extensions or community gardening groups for advice that's uniquely tailored to your specific microclimate.
We've covered the soil temps, organic defenses, and harvesting secrets. Armed with these techniques, you are completely ready for an incredible bounty. But considering how beans actively fix nitrogen and change the very chemistry of the earth they grow in, the real question is, how will you use this science to plan the rest of your garden's future ecosystem?